What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Branch Huddle. It's your boy, Stefan. I'm here with Steven Arps, George Kitchen. We are here to talk about the Super Bowl reaction. I'm going to lead off. I'm going to start off with you, George. Score was 31-9. I just want to really get up. The first feeling that you have after losing that game.
Man, I was upset. I ain't gonna lie. I was pretty hurt. I was shocked by the outcome of the game. I was, not being able to put a ball in the end zone, touchdown score, It just, I don't know, a lot of emotion, I ain't gonna lie. I was like, man, this is crazy, because we was like running it back. I'm pretty sure we had it in the bag. We kind of smashed them last time we played them, and this time it's kind of like a different story. So, I don't know, man. Just a lot of emotion, man. It's kind of upset.
Okay. Stephen A?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you never expect for something like that to happen, man. It's just, man, and that's why I got worried, man. When you have those like 14-2 year, it's like with the Ravens, but we got farther, obviously. I mean, we was more set up for success, but I mean, it definitely was a tough loss. Got over it pretty quick, though. I mean, there's next year, but definitely not the outcome. We're not used to the Chiefs looking like nothing could get together,
Yeah. And I'm personally saying, man, I'm shocked. I am shocked. If someone would have told me that the Chiefs wouldn't have scored not one touchdown, like I'd have took that bet. If they'd have told me like, hey, bet me that the Chiefs wouldn't score a touchdown, I'd have taken that bet in a hot second. And just going out to like, I honestly was so tempted to rub it in a lot of Chiefs fans, not y'all faces, but a lot of Chiefs fans' faces, man, because in 2015, when we lost the Super Bowl to the Broncos, my phone was blowing up with just people talking about, man, I can't believe you lost. You did this, you did that, going in on me, man. And I was so ready to just like get on people. I called like two people though. I ain't gonna lie. I called two people and I went in on them and I was like, man, what happened? And they was like, man, at least we was in the Super Bowl. Like, nah, bro, that didn't work for me in 2015 when I was trying to say that. And I was like, man, at least we made the Super Bowl. Nah, everybody was still trying to go in. So I was like, I'm about to go in on everybody too. But for y'all, man, y'all ain't rub it in on me, man. So I didn't call y'all and rub it in.
Hey, I was rooting for the Panthers. Cause what that year wasn't they 15-1, right?
Yep, that was year 15.
I don't feel like I think they weren't as I don't remember all the stats, but it was one of those surprises anyway. And then when you're like, man, I don't know if they're gonna be able to make it back. I feel like they were just built for it. It kind of shocked me. I don't know if it shocked you, but it's like, can they replicate this? That's why I was hoping they won. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I knew we wasn't going back. We wasn't going back. I knew that off the jump, man. I knew we weren't going back. Like right when we lost, I was like, nah, bro, that's it. That was like a lightning in a bottle kind of thing, where it's like, when you get there, you got to win, and that's, yeah, man. I don't know. It's a sore subject for me still. The 2015 Cam didn't jump on that fumble. Ooh, Cam. Oh boy. Yeah. But we're gonna get into more reactions. Let's start off with the bad play calls. Stephen A, why don't you lead us off, man, with a lot of the flags that were thrown. I believe there were 9 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of flags that I don't feel like should have been thrown. I know, man, I was listening to, I forgot who was it that was on one of the local sports radio stations. I think it was Mike Pereira that was even saying in a roundabout way, like, yeah, some of those calls were BS, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think there were enough of them to where it totally would have impacted to where we would have won per se, because we were playing like absolute dog crap. So, but it was one of those. Hey, it's funny because I can look from the outside, right? And like when it's my team that the calls go against, I don't want that to be an excuse, right? Unless it truly is like the last play of the game and it impacted it. So I don't feel like it had a great enough impact where, oh yeah, we were gonna win. It was these flags that screwed us, but yeah, there were some bad calls.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say the pass interference that Matthew pass interference on Grunt. The first ones they called, that one was a little fishy to me. The holding call on the offensive lineman on the Chiefs side, and then the Breland one, that one where I was kind of like, I was in the middle because I was like, all right, bro. Technically, like Mike Evans is like what 6'3", about 6'3", give or take. I think he could have dove for the ball and possibly got it or gotten close to it. We've seen some miraculous catches in the Super Bowl. So for a lot of people who are like, man, that's an uncatchable ball, he wasn't going to catch that. I honestly think there was still a possibility. Did he flop? Yeah, he flopped a little bit. He did a little bit of flopping. But, man, everybody flops. Everybody flops, all right? Everybody flops, man. So those three calls for me. And then the unsportsmanlike penalty call, Matthew, when but I guess they were calling it on him initially walking up and putting his finger in Brady's face. But
Brady said some stuff to him. So like, why did they just separate it?
I know.
Let him play.
I agree.
That to me wasn't worth the flag.
It was not worth the flag at all. Even when Brady went and chased him down, if anything, you called a flag on Brady because Brady went back and chased him down, and usually they never catch the initial aggressor. They always catch the reaction. So for me, those are my flags that I was questionable on. George.
I personally think all the calls are bad, except for like two. You know what I'm saying? The only ones I feel like was legit was like the offsides they called on Hardman, but it was really on. I mean, they called on Hamilton, but I think it was really on Hardman or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then like another holding call was like, okay, legit by lineman because our line was getting punked all night. Yeah. But like kind of go back to the one you said, man, Mike Evans. I feel like that was uncatchable. That's just me because he is like 6'3", 6'4", but the ball was like 10 yards ahead of him. So if he would have laid out, I still think he had no chance of catching it. And it was out of bounds. Mm-hmm. Like, it was floated more out of bounds. So I was like, I mean, like Stephen A. said, I don't feel like it really had too much of an impact on the outcome of the game, but it swayed the momentum of the game. You know where I'm going? Like a couple of times when penalties was called, we was like, that was their third down. So we was about to get him off the field. He does go punt or kick a field goal. The penalties gave him another fresh four to start, man. So it's like, okay, you can't give Tom Brady or a sound team like that another opportunity to go at it again 4 more times, man. That's why, I mean, I feel like the flags, I mean, they kind of screwed us over in the first half. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm standing behind that, man. Okay. That's just me, though.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair as a fan. You can feel that way, man. But 9 points is 9 points. But hey, man, we're not go Joe too deep on that, man.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
But so, and as you were talking about, that segues into the next part I wanted to talk about was the injuries on the Chiefs offensive line. How bad do you think that? Well, obviously they said he ran for about like 493 yards. He was scrambling in the backfield for 493 yards. How badly do you think that swayed how your offense performed on the field, George?
I think it impacted a lot, man. I mean, Mahomes is like a guy who had to drop back, 10 to 15 yards, kind of buy himself a little more time to take that big shot. I mean, he's a big shot type of quarterback, you know what I mean? We have big shot offense. So if our line is depleted, you know what I'm saying, with that pass rush coming in every down, like I think they said he got pressured 56 times or 20, something like that. He got pressured the most in Super Bowl history. You know what I mean? That's because of the line. It's not necessarily because of him just escaping the pocket like instantly. It's because the pressure was on him. The line couldn't hold up. And I said that I think we all said that on Friday when we talked about it before the game. Like them tackles, man, that could make or break it. So I mean that's my input on that, man. I ain't gonna say too much.
Okay. And I'll agree with you, man. Without trying to just reiterate what you said and just repeating. It impacted it a lot because, like I said, he's running around in the backfield. It seemed as though he didn't have, like you say, he'll run around, he'll run back like 10, 15 yards to allow some sort of a play to develop and then, throw a dot. But every time he dropped back, it was always in like 2.5 seconds. There was a defensive lineman back there ready to sack him. And then after you get hit so many times, especially getting hit by Ndamukong Suh, as hard and dirty as he hits, is bound to kind of mess with your mental a little bit. But I'm not putting the loss on Mahomes at all. But Stephen A.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember that, Mahomes is dealing with the toe injury still. So you could tell a little bit that it wasn't like he was being able to full-on run. But I mean, it was funny. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw some of the. I don't know if it was necessarily the post game or like some of just the after. I think once he got back to Kansas City interviews, where he kind of said it in a roundabout way, like, dude, he was just getting hit. Like they were just back there, just and there was nothing he could do about it. It's like, man, like he can't do it all by himself. So that's one of those. Hey, they got us. I don't want to blame everything on injuries because obviously when we win, I mean, I don't let the other teams use that as an excuse, but looking forward to, Fisher coming back. Let's see if Swartz. It was kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys saw his little Twitter post or Instagram, or if it's Twitter or Instagram, but kind of has me feeling like I don't know if his back is messed up to where he's not going to come back.
Mm.
I know French Doctor is supposed to be coming back next year. I know we had that draft pick from TCU that opted out because of COVID, so let's see if he comes back. But let's see what they can put together because that hurt us a lot. I still don't think probably if we were 100% we would have won just on the penalties and just not being able to get it going. But I mean, let's see.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Like real quick. I mean, I kind of agree with that to a certain extent. What Stephen A. just said about he don't know if he still would have won. Maybe so, but I think it would have been closer.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It'd have been a whole lot closer.
I feel like we would have had more opportunities to score because on third downs, man, when they did finally send a blitz, like he said on the post game interviews, Mahomes said he was getting hit repeatedly, constantly, pressure. You know what I'm saying? So if we had slowed down that rush a little bit, give some time, and don't tell them what the score would have been. I don't think it would have been like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also spoke in code too about, guys weren't where I thought they were gonna be. So possibly running wrong routes, like doing stuff wrong. People was dropping balls.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like it was just
we just look unprepared as a team, man.
Yep, just too confident.
Like,
too confident. Like, yep, we're gonna smoke them.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We just kept throwing the ball. Like you run the ball. Like I think I saw that on another sports channel where they're talking about like, hey, what we're doing is not working. Let's see if we can just get the running game going and then lull them to sleep and then start one because just throwing it on every doggone play ain't working.
Right. And that's it's perfect you said that because that leads us into our next segment that we're going to talk about. Well, not segment, but next thing I was talking about with the Super Bowl was outside of the offensive line. We're just talking about, like, we obviously know the offensive line was depleted. That was an issue. We know the refs, those are horrible play calls or horrible flags. But outside of that, what did the Chiefs do to lose this game? Like, what could they have done to improve their chances of winning? So I'll just go ahead and lead off with this one. So for me, like you were just saying, them running the ball was like a prime reasoning as to why they didn't win. Because you see when they ran the ball in the second half, it was like a 9-yard run, then it was a 6-yard run. And then they correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see Le'Veon Bell that whole night. Was he in there at all?
I think he was injured.
Was he?
He was active.
I thought he was active.
Well,
he
like
was
injured, right? Active,
yeah,
but
he didn't get in the game though.
Like they did Shady last
I
year.
think he had I think he had an injury, so it was one of those stood him up, but he's not gonna play just to make him prepare for it. I think I remember seeing that on some of the injury reports.
Yeah, so yeah, for me, like you're saying, it's not working. Like you can pass, but you do have to find some type of a balance. And y'all didn't draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round just to not use him, and it just felt like he wasn't being used properly. Even throughout the season, like before he got hurt, I think he had how many 100-yard games he had? I think maybe like one. I think it was like one 100-yard game. That first game against the Texans.
And then I think he went off against the Bills.
Oh, the Bills
and,
too, yeah.
Ravens. And maybe the Ravens.
And the Jets too, I think.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying because, like, obviously you're like, all right, the line cannot hold up. So we have to put them in the best position to win. So we're going to do this, kind of hide the little stuff, but it just seemed like we wasn't really using Tyreek like we probably should have done it in the right way. Like, it was off.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. But we're going to go Yeah, so Stephen A, outside of the offensive line and everything, I know you spoke a little bit about running. What did you think about like what could they have done to at least somewhat make this a more manageable defeat or a closer defeat, or maybe even won the game?
I mean, I really don't know what to say. Like a lot of drop balls, a lot of, like I said, offensive line blowing stuff. I love Honey Badger, but I think they kind of got into his head a little bit
Mhm.
on the other side because he's like a leader. So he's the most energetic person on the team. He kind of leads the pack. So once they kind of got into his head too, I think that threw off. Because I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Like looking at their faces, I think probably after that second half, they realized we're not going to win this game. We have no shot to win this.
Really?
People start dropping like stuff that like usually we'll catch. It's like, yeah, we can't win.
Mhm. That's interesting. Okay,
We're
George.
not used to be in this position. Like how Lamar Jackson was looking when, hey, we've blown everybody out last year. We're blowing
Yeah.
everybody out every game. Then when they get punched in the mouth, they don't know what to do, and they don't do all this dancing and all this silly stuff. Just like we got the peace sign thrown in our face. Yeah, you got us. We can't really. What can I really do? I can't bitch when we do that to them. So
George, I'm gonna let you go, and then we're gonna come back to that point, Arps. We're gonna come back to that one. George, I'm gonna let you go real quick. How do you feel?
Yeah, piggyback off of both for y'all. Like we should have ran the ball more. Like, when you know the line is messed up how it was, you got to keep the defense honest. You know what I mean? Like the safeties was playing deep, man. Like out the gate. So if I would have seen that me as a coach, as a coordinator, the enemy or Aiden Reed, Big Red, one of them, they should have been like, all right, the safeties is back, run the ball, do quick screens, make those safeties come up, and then take them shots like you normally do. You know what I mean? So that was my thing on offense. They could have done more, kind of keep the defense guessing. And then I'm gonna switch to defense. On defense, I feel like we don't have the type of front line to just send forward and drop everybody back in covers. You know what I mean? I feel like Spags wasn't as aggressive as he normally is. Like we blitzed a few times. The time we sacked Brady, we blitzed that time. But I feel like we should have blitzed him more. Like it's a proven fact that Brady, once you start touching him, putting pressure on him, then he's not as effective as he normally is, right? When he got all day to throw the ball around. So I feel like offense and defense played a part. You know what I'm saying? Defense did a decent job, but they was on the field way too much. You know what I mean? So with them being on the field as much as they was, I feel like Spags should dial up more blitzes, come out of that man defense and just put more pressure on Brady. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree. And then we can go with the obvious thing, what the Bucs did right in this game. I mean, they attacked the defense, they ran the ball, they had the short routes going in order to alleviate the pressure off of Brady. They were like, hey, we're about to toss the Gronk right quick. They did some trick plays. I believe they might even pull the play from what the Chiefs did. So I mean, we can dive into that real quick. I mean, but scoring 31 points, you probably did almost everything right. We can dive in that right quick. Go ahead and lead off with you, Stephen A.
yeah, I mean, defense showed out, man. I mean, it was hilarious listening to like some of the stuff they were saying. Like, I don't know if you guys watched their post game when they were talking crap.
Oh, I didn't get to watch it, but
Yeah, you guys need to watch that. So they're basically saying, I think it was Levante David, with Devin White. They're a finesse team. We know if we can punch them in the mouth, they're not gonna get away with all this finesse stuff with us. They even said, hey, I never thought that we'd be if you was able to bet on everything and say that Mahomes wasn't gonna get a touchdown, nobody would have taken it. And they showed us like they were just playing smash mouth when our finesse stuff didn't work. We weren't just willing to get in there and like run the ball and run over them and really get physical. They basically said they're a finesse team.
like the Golden
And I
State
was like,
Warriors.
wow. Yeah.
Okay. George.
Like you said, they executed. I mean, no better way to really put it, man. They executed on all phases of the game. I mean, offense, they kept a good balance of run, pass, got the ball to Brady's hand quick, which he normally gets rid of the ball quick anyway. And defense, they took advantage of our mismatch with the line. They was hitting them ends all game, you know. And then like he said, the linebacker was physical. I was surprised that David was actually manning up on Kelce like all game.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised by that. He actually held his own, and I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I mean, overall, I can't take credit for them, man. They did a decent job. They did what they were supposed to do. They came in there, played hard, and executed. You know,
Yeah,
they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, and you know, I wish I had a lot of conversations I have with y'all and with other people outside of, you know, the podcast. I wish I was able to put those onto the podcast, because I was telling my brother the same thing. I was like, bro, I think it's a little different with this Tampa Bay defense, because they have the best young, or not, I ain't gonna say young, but they have one of the better linebacking cores in the league, to where they could go one-on-one with Travis Kelce and not really contain him, but manage his.
But if you're willing to rough him up and you're not afraid,
yeah,
I mean, obviously, and they're already getting the pressure on Mahomes.
That's true too.
What do you think gonna happen?
That's true
Because
too.
usually he can get out of it, and then I think some of the players are intimidated of Kelce. And I mean, you got to give credit to Todd Bowles, man. I think looking back at it, if you're not going to give EB, you know, Bieniemy the job with the Eagles, probably should have went to him. He probably needs another shot. Like, give him a decent quarterback. And because you're like the guy they hired. You know, I want people to get jobs, but you're like, dang, like he was able to. And you know, I've listened to some of the other, you know, channels about like some of the things they're talking about, and they're like, yeah, like Todd Bowles completely adjusted everything they did last time. Like, we're not doing the same thing, which sometimes you got to wonder with the Chiefs, we do the same thing every time because it naturally works, but can we adjust when it doesn't work? And that's what they were able to do. They're like, nope, we know that Tyreek was burning us. We're going to change what we were doing there. You know, everything they change. So you got to give it up for him. I don't like Bruce Arians all that much, but I would say Todd Bowles and Leftwich did what they needed to do.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the gripes that people have with Andy Reid, is to some effect of like his clock management, and sometimes, like you said, I think they got too comfortable with like what they did works. Like, I think they were so self-reliant on scoring. They were like, bro, we can score. Nobody can stop us from scoring. And the Bucs were their first team to be like, we're just gonna stop you from scoring. Like you said, we're gonna punch you in the mouth. We're gonna run the ball down your throat, and you know, we're gonna play safeties way back, which I believe the Raiders initially came up with that game plan. It's like, we're not gonna let Tyreek beat us again. We're gonna make you use Kelce, and then we're gonna try to take away Kelce, to where we're gonna make you use a number 2 option, which they don't have. I mean, Cole Hardman's great, but he's like a utility player at this point. Can he improve like Tyreek? Yes, he can, but he's gonna have to put some major work in, because I'm not a huge fan of his route running ability. He just really just has a ton of speed. So that's just my perspective. And so I just want to ask you guys real quick, what can the Chiefs do to improve their roster to get back to the Super Bowl and actually win it this time? George, let's lead off with you on this one.
Man, honestly, our roster is pretty legit. I mean, that's just how I feel. I mean, that might be me being a homer or bias or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like our roster is pretty good, but some areas of improvement for the roster. I would say, of course, I want to look at the offensive line, because that got exploited the most in the Super Bowl, right? When you shore up that line, they give Mahomes some protection, since you know he is a type of quarterback. I mean, he makes plays inside the pocket, man, but he can make plays in the pocket too. You don't give him credit for that. You know what I mean? But he just needs more time. He needs that wall in front of him so he can throw from that pocket, right?
Yeah.
As far as like, you know, defense, I still feel like we don't, like I said Friday, I feel like we don't have those playmaking linebackers like Tampa Bay does, like young playmakers. Like, we got one, but he was hurt, Willie Gay. So I think we need to give him some teammates, like give him some help on that level of defense. And I feel like our secondary is still solid, man. I mean, I feel like our secondary is still pretty solid. So maybe a corner in the draft, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a good corner in the draft if we can find one. But area of need is offensive line, pass rushers, and linebackers.
Okay, I like that. Go ahead, Arps.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty much the same thing. So it'd be interesting. I don't know at that point in the draft. I got to look at some of the mock drafts. I know that's more your thing, Stefan. But like, who's going to be available at that point. I know that a lot of times you can get some good, offensive linemen. I know the Big Ten is very popular for that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in, some of the corners. I think when I was looking at it, I forgot if Charvarius Ward, if his contract was coming up, but we have some other folks. We got Snead, we got Fenton that I think are still pretty much on their rookie contracts. Not sure if Breland will be back.
Hope not.
Probably not. Also, it'd be interesting with the receiver part. Like if we get rid of Sammy Watkins, I'd be interested to see can Mahomes do the LeBron type of stuff. I mean, he's on that level, right, where he can, hey, I need you to come play with me like a veteran. Pretty decent. That's not injury prone, because obviously that's one of Sammy's issues, right? Is that never seems to be there. I mean, last year he pulled it off pretty good. I know he's injured during the regular season, but this year definitely not there when it counts. So I was hoping he could make noise, but it felt like it wasn't really nothing. So.
Okay. All right. So I will agree with both of you. I feel like offensive line is somewhat of need, but it just kind of depends on what happens with, like you was talking about with Mitchell Schwartz, Lucas Niang, I think it's Niang.
Niang, yeah.
Yeah. The left tackle.
We don't even know how good he is, right?
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about him. So.
But I mean, in college he was great, but yeah, it's a whole different thing in the NFL. And then, you gotta look at, and then if the doctor's gonna come back, if he comes back, then yes, you guys won't have a big hole. If he doesn't come back and he continues to, fight the battle of COVID, then you guys have another hole right there. Also, I think it's a like you're saying, a number two. I think a number two receiver is needed. Either you work on McCole Hardman and make him a number two, or you go get a number two, which I don't think is going to happen. I think he's more of a spotty, utility player type thing, a specialty player. But you got to go out and you got to get a number two, because if they're playing two deep safeties, and then Travis Kelce's going to get what Travis Kelce's going to. He's going to get his 100 yards. He's going to get his. But you have to have a number two receiver to alleviate some of that pressure off of Tyreek. Now, would they take one in the draft? I think they would. I think they could honestly end up taking one in the draft, because I just don't see a top receiver taking less money at this point.
Even to win, though?
Possible. It would have to be an older player, like 29. You'd have to be 29, 30, 31 years old. Like a Kenny Gall, not even Kenny Galladay, like a Marvin Jones or something like that.
They were trying. I know Detroit's trying to go through a rebuild, but I heard that he was one of the people that they're actually trying to hold on to, and then maybe willing for pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, and so that's I'm like it'd have to be like an older player. I don't see like a 25, 26, 27-year-old or 28-year-old receiver taking close to veteran minimum money, because you still have to. I don't know how many, like you were saying, I don't know how many players that you guys have that need to be re-signed at this point, but it's like you have to still manage that cap space that you have, because Mahomes' contract kicks in next year, right?
23. I think kick in hard in 2023.
Okay. And so it's like you gotta get that roster together now. So I'm like, that's why I just don't see anyone taking. If they do that, that'd be great for y'all. But I just don't see anyone doing that. And then Breland needs to be replaced. I personally, like, Breland is notorious for holding. Like, he holds a lot. He just got away with it though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got away with it during the regular season, but when it gets to the Super Bowl, typically they call that because it's like they cherry pick out of different officiating crews. So people officiate differently as a crew together, working together throughout the season, as opposed to just cherry picking someone like a group and putting them together to work together for a Super Bowl. So I feel like secondary is a need. Linebacker is a major need, like George, you were saying, and I'm pretty sure you said it too, Arps. Linebacker is a major need, because I just don't see like any type of game-changing talent outside of potentially Gay. Like, you guys need it. I don't know, because Gay's playing the outside, right?
Yeah, he outside.
But isn't Hitchens like in his 30s?
No,
I'm saying Hitchens. kind of looking back, that's probably not a great contract because I think we got him for another 2 years.
Oh yeah. Then
But yeah,
y'all
I think
gotta.
we also signed Hitchens when we had a different scheme. We signed him for
Yeah,
inside
but
3-4
he's
linebacker.
decent, like, but it's just so. And I think Damian Wilson, I was looking at his. I think we can pretty much get rid of him if we really wanted to. So we could do like Hitchens, Gay, and then like a newbie.
Yeah. So so that for me would be my fixes. Would be the linebacking core, a wide receiver number 2, and then like an opposite number 2 corner opposite of Snead. Because Snead is the number 1 corner. I think he's proven that. So, and then also pass rush. I don't think Frank Clark is gone yet, but I think they might end up flipping Frank Clark for some draft picks because, you know, that contract's getting bigger as the year goes on. So
we ain't had him that long, so I think we're kind of stuck with him.
yeah, that's true. I think the way his
Too
contract
much
works.
money. I think when I looked at it, his cap is higher than Mahomes, bro, for next year.
He needs to restructure then or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
he's
he's not bad. But I think that, man, like I don't know what it is. Is it that? I don't know.
Man,
he's a better.
in the Super Bowl, he did have that 1 sack on Brady. The 1 sack we got was from Frank Clark. You know what I'm saying? But it's like after that, he's like, okay, I did my job. Now what? You know what I mean? Like he needs to keep that engine going all game, like an Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? He's not. His contract don't. The way his contract is, this is my opinion. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
The way his contract is, he should be making more plays.
Yeah, you're making $100 million at the defensive end position. You need to be.
Yeah.
You need to be a game
back
changer.
Yeah. You need to be able to stop the run, the pass. I mean, you need to be double teamed every play. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be pedestrian. Like you like I don't know if you take plays off or what. You know what I'm saying? It's like you'll go a whole quarter. I don't hear your name at all. It's like you out there. It's kind of like
Yeah, well, wouldn't y'all say that about like? So that's just like saying with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald ain't.
But I watch the Rams play, bro. I hear his name all game.
You hear his name all the time, and he's being tripled.
But sometimes that doesn't equal. I mean, we talked about this with Marcus Peters.
You ain't gotta get sacks, man.
Marcus Peters is like good, right? But Ramsey's good, but their teams don't win nothing because they don't play within the scheme. They're not good enough. Having one superstar doesn't necessarily always equal your team being good. So what we need to do is scheme him better and figure out now if they see him letting up or they really truly feel like that he's letting up, they need to address that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's somewhat different. I feel like that's somewhat different, bro, because you got Chris Jones. So it's not like Frank Clark is the only.
Hey, I was one of the people when they talked about trading Chris Jones or not re-signing him. I was like, look, if they can get good enough draft picks for him, we have Mahomes. It's just like what people had with Brady, not the recent Brady where it was kind of like he needs more help. Because when you think about it, he had like an all-star squad, right? But
yeah,
like when you have a quarterback like that, you can get away with not having just crazy talent because he can take over a game and really like help you out a lot. So you don't have to have like us having Chris Jones, Frank Clark. If we re-sign Breeland to some crazy contract, Matthew, we can't afford to probably have all those guys have these like crazy contracts, right? So that's where you have to figure it out. Because I think maybe that's our biggest mistake. Frank Clark and Chris Jones have these huge contracts. They're not huge, but you know what I mean.
No, I get it. Yeah. And that also goes back to me saying, I got to think for the future. So it's like you can't bring back, or you can't take, like a receiver's not going to take a 1-year deal. A good receiver's not going to take a 1-year deal because you get hurt. Let's say you tear an ACL. Yeah. Like you're not going to get that same type of money you were going to get if you just signed that long-term deal. And like I said, Tyrann Mathieu coming up, Tyreek Hill's coming up, Kelce got his extension. So then you have to think about those two players right there. You have to extend them. You can't get rid of Tyrann Mathieu because he was the heart of the defense or heart of the secondary.
We got to get him to control his emotions too, man.
But he's always been a fiery person.
I know he has, but it got to the point where just like, man, I always think of sometimes how Ramsey gets people. Where not even being really good, but he just starts tugging at you, pushing you out of bounds, Like, and then it gets you riled up to where you're not even thinking about the game. I think Brady, when he did whatever he said, hopefully he didn't say nothing too crazy to him. I'd be interested to know what he actually said, but he got him out of the game, and since he's the leader, I think it just went to we realized, no, we're not gonna beat them today.
Yeah.
Period. So it's like, all right, we're gonna just start doing silly stuff, like getting mad, but it's like we can't beat them. This is usually the position we put other people in, and now it got done to us. So it's like, all right, you got us. We'll be back next year though.
Yeah. And speaking of that, like, because a lot of people are like, man, I wonder what Brady said, and some a lot. I love my people. I do. I love y'all. But everybody's like, I think he said the N-word. I don't think Brady said the N-word. Because I would tell you 1,000%.
He would have came out and said he said the N-word.
He'd have snuffed him on the field, bro.
Because he's from New Orleans, so I know he would have did something. But he probably said some stuff like, hey, you a BZ. Just like who was it? When LeBron was saying, that's why I was like, when Draymond did whatever to him, and I was like, did he say something about your mama or like your kids or something? But I think didn't he just call him
him a B? Yeah, that's all he did. And that's what I think.
But hey, on the street, that's different. You would kill somebody for that. But I think that's probably what he said to him probably. And he's like, man, you ain't about that. Like, why are you saying this to me? You better watch what you're saying. And then, so I think that's why I apologize, man.
And I agree. I agree. That's what I think. That's the only thing I think he said, because I'm like, bro, first of all, Brady's a passionate. He's not passionate. I call every NFL player passionate. If you're going off on the sidelines, you're passionate about your craft. So he's gonna go off if he, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he'll call you a B, but he ain't gonna call you the N-word, because first off, there's way too many endorsements involved. He plays with way too many black teammates. So even if he called Tyron a black, or called him, you know what I'm saying, called him the N-word.
Nah, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm saying he would have to literally go back to his sideline and explain what happened, and then the rest of the team's gonna look at him like, bro, like, if you called him that, you literally played with us.
Did Mason Rudolph say that though?
I think he probably did.
That one probably was like,
but I think he said it in a like he was trying to use it. I think he was trying to use it as a term of endearment kind of thing, how we use it, like how black people use it to communicate with each other. I think he used it in that term. I don't think he meant it as a slave master mentality type thing. But and I wholeheartedly agree, because there's just nobody in the AFC that caught up. But there's a cautionary tale. There's a cautionary tale with that, because you see Aaron Rodgers, and when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, Stephen A., I know you know Otis. Otis thought y'all was gonna be back. Otis wanted to do a bet with me. Me and Otis was talking about the bet. He was like, man, Aaron Rodgers is gonna win 3 or 4 Super Bowls. And I honestly thought he would. That's why I didn't make the bet, because I was like, I'm about to lose that bet. But I should have made that bet, Otis, because you would have lost and I'd have been paid. But like, there's a cautionary tale, because everybody thought the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. They were like, Aaron Rodgers is going back. He gonna go back next year. But they just neglected to build a team around him, and then it fell into that Peyton Manning, which I call it the Manning rebuild. The Manning rebuild curse is the Colts. They were so good that they felt as though, like, we could just put crap around Peyton Manning and we could still end up winning. And so I think that's what they do with Aaron Rodgers.
With Manning, wasn't it that his, like, I'm trying to think with the Colts, wasn't it that they had a good offense, but they would always have the bye week, and then they would suck after the bye week, and then freaking either lose or like look crappy.
Yeah, because they never really
with the Broncos, he was pretty much decent, and then they just had like a bad coach on one of the seasons. Or was it 2 seasons?
No, it was John Fox was the coach
John
when
Fox
Peyton Manning first came in.
Didn't know how to coach. I hate to say it, but he didn't know how to coach. So
I know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I know. You know, because he's with y'all coach. But yeah, I mean, I think that Mahomes at least can make. So he's already done 2 Super Bowl appearances. So kind of maybe the same thing where, I mean, 4 Super Bowl appearances, maybe 2 actual Super Bowls, maybe a couple losses. I don't know, but with a lot of these other quarterbacks leaving or on their way out, I don't know how long Pittsburgh is going to deal with Big Ben.
1 more year.
Yeah, because I'm like,
he getting paid $41 million next year. He coming back. He's not going to not come back. That's $41 million he'd be leaving on the table if he decided.
Well,
not
do they have to pay him? I mean, do they cut him?
If they were to cut him, I think they would still get a cap hit.
Yes,
I
I guess I
believe.
gotta keep him. But
Uh,
I'll say if he don't do nothing next year, Tomlin already built up enough cachet because I was shocked that they did as good as they did. I know they fell off
mm,
at the end of the year, but get rid of him, rebuild. You got some good up and coming receivers. Maybe I don't know if they could find a way to get Watson, or I don't know even what's going on with Watson no more, man.
Texans ain't
Like,
letting him go. They
I don't
holding him
get what
hostage.
Houston's doing. Like holding
No
them
one
hostage.
does.
You're like,
No one knows what
okay,
Houston's doing anymore.
it's bad though. Why would you agree to that?
That's
If that's true, unless you
I
have to,
smacked my headset so hard, bro. I'm almost flew off my head, bro. Why'd you sign the deal? Why'd you sign it? But I know why he signed the deal, because he was like,
no, I mean, I
think
kind of get
initially,
it, but
initially he wanted to stay, but then he thought he was going to be a part of personnel decisions. Like they were going to approach
yeah, and then
him.
they played him.
Yeah, and that's
No,
what I was like, bro.
I was
What made
talking
you
more-
think that they
I
were
was
going
talking
to?
about why he's mad, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're the coach, if the coach truly didn't know, unless he's lying, it has to kind of say the company line, which I get. I've had to do that, right?
Mhm.
But like, if you knew, like, all right, I haven't met with Deshaun before I take this job. I haven't met with, like, he hasn't talked to any of us. He's pissed at us. Why wouldn't you just trade him? Like, if you're like, hey, listen, at least talk to me first, and then if you don't want to play ball with the vision, let's get you out of here so we can rebuild, and because that can tear up the whole locker room.
True. And with that being said, I feel as though they just like, man, like, you know, the late, I think it was Bobby Mayer, their previous owner who passed away
Yeah,
recently.
Bobby there, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, hey, you can't let the inmates run the asylum. That's how his son feels, bro. His son feels like, I'm not gonna let this player tell me how to run this franchise. I pay you. You don't pay me, which I mean,
Right,
kinda
but then
he does,
but then you let
but-
but then you let it's a balance, right? Here's the thing. I don't know how much time we got, but here's why I'll disagree with that. I'll never agree with that analogy, right? Because that kind of has some context behind that, right? But what I would say is, like, hey, you let a coach run away talented players just because you don't want to play ball with them. Is this player truly a distraction? That's how I would look at it. So I kind of get the Clowney thing. Clowney was always injured, talented. Even his old coach said, I don't even know if Jadeveon want to play. I get it. But then you get rid of D-Hop. You get rid of all these players just because they're not whatever you want to go with. So you're basically saying, I'm willing to suck. And instead of saying, look, man, here's my vision. Let's roll with this. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
so at the same time, if you let a coach just do whatever the heck they want to do and get rid of people, you're like, this is obviously going to make us worse. And we're signing less talented people. And my quarterback's going to be mad. Like, hey, why don't we get somebody in here like, hey, Deshaun, help me decide who do you want to bring in? You talk to him. Do the NBA shit.
Yeah.
You talk to him and say, hey, Tyreek, I need you to try to find your way to Houston. I want to play with you. And we'll find a way to get him more money. If we got to get rid of some of these other dudes, fine. We'll make the baddest offense and let's try it. But you don't do that. You don't bring him in to talk about like any of the coaches. Like, I don't necessarily think they should have necessarily final say on everything. But if you got to be a fool to think that they don't have any, they shouldn't be involved in like at least talking with the coach and seeing, hey, what's your vision for me? You know, this or that, and get the input. Ultimately, if you decide not to hire that coach or GM, he has the right to say, nah, I'm good, because you already got rid of all my good players. So
I'll hop back in, Steven, real quick. I agree with you. He kind of screwed up with Jadeveon Clowney. It was like, okay, and my issue was like he gave him away for like what, like a 4th round pick, and I think it was Dwayne Brown.
Yeah.
I think I think it was like a 4th and Dwayne Brown. Yeah, and it was like, okay, you did that move. I understand, and I agree with you. I understand that move, but I feel as though the fact that they didn't consult with getting rid of D-Hop for David Johnson when running backs come at a premium, like you can get a running back out of the draft, but you decide to just like pay $10 million for one extra year for one and then get a second round pick. And then you turn around and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I don't care. You turn around and take that second round pick and you move it to the Rams. The Rams end up taking Cam Akers. You lose out on like, you know what I'm saying? You lose out on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers, and DeAndre Swift. But you could have literally, you know what I'm saying? You could have used those picks on a running back. You could have picked the running back. You could have, and then still kept DeAndre Hopkins. And then you could have picked another wide receiver to complement DeAndre Hopkins, which I obviously know Will Fuller's there as a compliment, but Will Fuller's was on the last year of his deal. And Will Fuller's not necessarily healthy all the time. So, yeah, so they screwed the franchise. And that's why I was shocked when he signed the contract. I was like, even if you tell me I'm part of decisions, like you still let Bill O'Brien take away both my weapons, and then you gave me like a medical receiving core of like Randall Cobb, Will Fuller, and Brandon Cooks. No disrespect on Brandon Cooks though, but
right,
I'm just saying.
Then you trade away, so all the picks are gone. So us being terrible this year, we don't even get any benefit for it.
Yeah, you get no benefit.
And I knew we were going to be terrible, so I would have been cool to be like, all right, if we're going to suck this year, we're going to suck. But at least give me like a high draft pick. I can give me one of the Alabama receivers or Chase from LSU, and then I'll be cool. But it's like, nah, I need like forget it. I could find a random way to have an injury close to the end of the year, take off those last games, go on vacation. But that's not what they did. They traded away all these picks, so they just sucked for no reason.
Sucked for no reason. It was no reason whatsoever. So tell me about the whole running back perspective of you guys coming back for next year. How confident are you that you guys will be in the Super Bowl next year? And then also give me your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson situation.
I'm pretty confident, man, on the whole running back term because, like you said earlier, I mean, I don't really see much competition in the AFC for us, right? I mean, they haven't caught up yet, like Stephen A. said. Like, we got some good teams over there, but it's like I don't feel like no one's a serious threat to dethrone us as of yet. You know what I mean? So I know the whole dynasty talk was like, you know, we're the next dynasty. I feel like we are the next dynasty still, even though we didn't win this one. But I feel like we got a lot more to go to, you know. So, yeah, I feel like we are going to be back in the picture like every year. You know, barring a major serious injury to like Mahomes or something like that, Lord forbid, knock on wood. But as long as everybody can stay healthy, man, yeah, I don't see no reason why we wouldn't be going back to multiple Super Bowls. As far as like Deshaun Watson thing, man, like, I mean, I ain't mad at him. Like I said, like D-Hop, a lot of good talent being shipped out of Houston, man. Some going to Houston that we don't know about. They ain't really being brought to the forefront, so, you know, fans can know what's really going on in there. But something about the franchise that the good players want to get out. So, I mean, that's a red flag to me. So it's something going on. And he needs to be in a winning situation. Like, he been put in so much, like, crap, you know, his last couple of seasons with Bill O'Brien trying to run everything. Like, he deserves a fresh start with a legit franchise to really want to win. So,
okay. All right, guys. So that's it for us for this episode of Branch Huddle. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and hit that follow button. Share it with your friends. Share, both on YouTube and on Spotify. If you are on Instagram, go find me. I'm on Instagram at Branch Huddle, Twitter at Branch Huddle. I'm not really on there as much anymore because there's a lot of weird stuff on Twitter that I just got to stay out of, man. It's too weird for me. So go to my Instagram. I'm actually live on that one right now. Also, I have a Facebook page, not really on that one as much either. So go to the Instagram. I appreciate my two cohorts coming in, joining in with me. If y'all think they should be a permanent part of the show, which we have been talking about, please let me know in the comment section below. Business inquiries, Branch Huddle, business@gmail.com. But let me know if you want them to be a permanent part of the show. If you don't, let me know that as well, and I will let them know that they are fired immediately. But I appreciate you guys for listening. You guys got any parting words before I let us go?
I appreciate it.
yeah, appreciate the invite, man, on here every time, man. It's always a good conversation, you know.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
So this is Mr. B, Branch Huddle, signing out. As always, y'all stay strong, stay safe, and keep hustling.